I've been using Mac laptops for the past 6 or 7 years now, and yeah, I do kind of prefer them over Windows laptops. But before I get into this video, these are all my thoughts and they're all my opinions, so yours may be different and stuff. But if you have different opinions, be sure to leave them in the comments down below because I'd love to hear them. But as I said, they're my opinions, so nobody's right here. These are just what I think about Mac laptops and why they're better over Windows laptops. So anyway, let's get straight into this video. This is my top 5 reasons why I like Mac OS X over Windows. Number 1 is the trackpad. It goes without a doubt that no Windows trackpad has come close to being built as good as this, or has been able to work as good as the trackpads on Mac. I love everything about the trackpad, from the force touch functions to the trackpad to all the multitasking gestures that the Mac gets just right. Also, unlike other trackpads that you might find in other laptops, I found that the Mac trackpads look great even after many months or many years even. Which brings me on to number 2, which is build quality. So it isn't just the Mac's trackpad that is built well. Yes, its aesthetics look great, but Macs also last for ages in my experience. My previous Mac lasted about 6 years, and after using it for those 6 years, it looked a bit worn, but it didn't look drastically bad, like things weren't falling apart and stuff like that. Other things such as the keyboard feel great to type on, well, at least for my MacBook Pro's keyboard. I'm not sure about the MacBook, and there are little attentions to detail which I love. But moving on to why I like Mac OS X, or soon to be called Mac OS itself. Number 3 is file management. Macs handle files really well and allow you to do whatever you want with the files in a really easy way, really. They allow you to move them around easily through spring-loaded folders, which lets you hover a file over a folder to open it. And when it comes to open file dialog boxes, when you drag a file onto that box, it navigates straight to that file so you can go and insert it. Again, small little details, but one that I find really helpful because I use these functions a lot. Moving on to number 4, I have to mention the Mac OS X user interface. After all, it's a big part of your computer's experience, and the thing is, it just isn't as good on Windows, I don't think. It just doesn't seem to have the same sort of polish as Mac OS X. It's kind of hard to describe, but when you compare Windows to Mac OS X just feels a lot more polished to me, and a lot more user-friendly even, I think. I really like the Mac dock, the Finder interface, and the whole general look of the interface a lot more. Oh, and I can't be the only one that thinks that quick access is beyond awful. I think a big part of this though is because the Windows interface keeps changing every 3 or so years. So pretty much every time they kind of started from square one, so they have to go and change everything, and it's just really confusing for the team, it must be. Whereas the Mac interface kind of stays the same, but they just add little improvements every single year, which I really like. But hopefully now this isn't going to be the case with Windows 10, because they're just going to be building upon Windows 10 as they do with Mac OS X. So hopefully the upgrades are going to be less drastic, and they're not going to change everything about the interface, but they're going to keep going. That's kind of what I'm hoping Windows are going to be doing with Windows 10. And so hopefully this trend of Windows continuously changing stuff and just having loads of inconsistencies in the operating system is going to change soon. And finally, for number 5 is the interconnectivity with other devices. Windows is absolutely terrible with Bluetooth. It just doesn't handle Bluetooth well at all. Like, when I switch over to the Windows partition on my laptop, I don't even bother trying to use it. And then when you want to connect the device on the network, sometimes it does work, sometimes it doesn't work. There's a whole load of options that you have to go through, and I just find it all to be really annoying. Whereas on the Mac, it just all seems to kind of work. Bluetooth is dead easy to use. You can easily disconnect and connect to other devices, and it's just dead easy to use. All the options are in one place, whereas on Windows they're kind of scattered around. And then there's the whole thing with drivers, which yes, Microsoft has made a lot better. It used to be pretty bad in the past, but they've made it a lot better. But it's still a problem, it's still an issue, and things still rely on drivers. Whereas on the Mac, there's no such thing as drivers, basically. So I really hope they'll be able to change this in the future, but up until now, drivers are still a pain. So that's about it anyway. Windows isn't a terrible operating system, but I do think that Mac OS X is just a lot better than Windows, just in my opinion anyway. And those were basically the reasons why I thought that. But again, if you think differently, be sure to tell me down in the comments down below. I mean, I know that Windows is better for stuff like gaming, and for perhaps gaming. But anyway, I'd love to hear all of your opinions anyway down in the comments down below. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next video. I hope you all have a great day. Bye.